Being in religious leadership was a great honour and great privilege, because I had the opportunity to travel around the congregation to different parts of the world and to meet some very good people, very committed men and women who were sharing in the presentation, charism and mission. There were challenging aspects to leadership as well, and I suppose today we're pilgrims, you know, we're taking it one step at a time. I don't think anybody has all the answers, as it were. And it's impossible all the time to get everything right. And one learns by mistakes at times. I wrote an article recently for a journal we have, Presentation Studies, where I talked about pilgrim leadership. And I think it was a good image, because that idea of pilgrimage, again, you set out on a journey, you have some idea of the final destination, but along the way, there's a lot that you need to learn and unlearn. You have to learn to let go of baggage, to travel lightly. You depend on the support of friends and sometimes the kindness of strangers. And I suppose in religious leadership as well, one tries to lead by example. And one brings one's own gifts and also one's own weaknesses and failings to that. And many people were very good to me and very supportive of me in the support and advice they gave me. So I would say overall it was a great honour and privilege, and I would say many aspects of it I enjoyed it. There were other aspects of the job which were very, very difficult, and because of the great changes that were happening, it was very difficult to know at times what was the best course of action to take. Sometimes in leadership one would look back over a number of years and say, well, what happened, or what did we achieve, or whatever. I've discovered that it's very difficult to assess that, because one of the things in leadership is sometimes it's what one prevents from happening, which isn't always seen. One's achievements or failures, successes or failures, can be seen and, as it were, judged by others. But sometimes in the work of leadership, one actually prevents things from happening which mightn't have been positive, or, you know. And another thing I've learned is that one of the great privileges I've had in leadership is at times being able to intervene subjectively in someone's life and invite them into a new experience. So for example, a brother is in one place and he's in a ministry and he's very happy there and he's doing maybe a good job and so on. But you just see that that person has a gift for something else, or is needed in some other ministry, or should go for studies, or should whatever, and you invite them to do something. Sometimes they take it on very slowly because they're very happy where they are, but then a number of years later they're in a new ministry and they're doing wonderful work and they're even happier, and you say, gosh, that was great, like that I was able to intervene there and give an invitation which led to a fuller life for somebody. And I think that's been one of the great privileges of leadership as well. I can think of quite a number of examples around the congregation and the presentation family where I invited or advised or guided or suggested to people that they might do something else. They did it at the time very unsure of themselves, and then a couple of years later they say, gosh, that was a great thing to do. So I say, well, I intervened, but again, it was, where did the inspiration come? It was often that maybe the Spirit worked through me to invite somebody, and that's also one of the great roles and great privileges of leadership. But it's not always about named leadership. So for example, I'm congregation leader, or somebody else is principal of a school, or somebody else is manager of a project or whatever, and they're named leaders. But all of us in the presentation family are called to leadership in different ways. And I specifically want to address this to young people in the presentation family, because there are many young people, young men and women, in different youth movements across the presentation family. People that I'm very inspired by at times when I meet them. And I want to encourage them in their leadership, to take leadership. Pope Francis used that phrase to young people in Rio about make some noise, you know, to take leadership, to believe in their own leadership. Now, obviously, they may need support or mentoring, or they may need the help of others, but that they are leaders and the Spirit works through them as well. So what do? You see something that you think could be done better, or that you need to change, or you see some need, you pray about it, you seek the guidance of the Spirit, you talk to your friends about it, and then you discern together and you take action. So in that sense, I think we are all called to leadership in the world today, in this evolving world. And I particularly want to address that call to all the young people throughout the different youth groups across the Presentation family, to take the call of Jesus seriously, to take the charism of Edmund Rice seriously, and to express it in new ways in the world today. And I can assure them they will have the support of the Presentation brothers and the other men and women of perhaps an older generation in the Presentation family in doing that. But we need the energy, the enthusiasm, the vitality and the creativity of young people. And of course there will be mistakes at times, but we'll also do something beautiful for God together in the years ahead.